Thank you, Mason, for hitting record. You did hit record, right?
Oh no.
Hey, are you recording?
Rolling.
All right. Okay, I guess we're rolling. All right, guys, I just really quick, I wanted to do this video for you because we just did this shoot and I don't ever get a chance to do this to show you guys how we actually shoot these videos. Everyone's like, oh, you just turn on a camera and you put someone on stage. And yes, we kind of do that, but there's a lot we have to do around them. So I'm gonna show you guys. And Mason, my camera operator right now, who refuses to put himself on camera, is gonna help me show you guys how we do this. So we actually use our sanctuary with our lights in here. We have our house lights on today because we didn't really need that much control. But if you look up, they're probably flickering right now because they refresh at a different rate. But we have our stage lights that we use to warm up the plate behind me. Today we decided to use a fancy new backdrop that we got. This is just a paper vinyl backdrop. But every now and then we actually won't even use a background. But that's how we bounce the light backwards. Over here, I have a hair light, a rim light, that just accentuates our form while we're on stage so that it helps us get that ready for you guys on camera. But then for the key light, I decided not to go with this for keys. This is all my fill lights. They're not at 100% intensity. But over here, we're using a newer ring light for key. That way we get a nice, soft key light, and I can use a camera at an angle. We can actually use multiple cameras with this light setup, and it works perfect. So the Kids Life team is actually here watching me do this right now, and they're like, huh? And they just shot all day. It's a little complicated, but when we get into post, I'll show you guys how this works and how we can use this for lighting. And it's honestly just easier to use. So. Alright, so let's jump into DaVinci real quick so I can show you guys what we shot. Here's the footage straight out of the pocket. As you can see, it's really flat, no saturation, no curves at all, no contrast at all. So this is perfect to show you guys what I'm talking about. Now, I already color graded the shot. I'll show you guys that in a second, but I want to point out some of the lighting, and I'll break this down in Photoshop for you guys here in a few, but this is why I use 3-point lighting the most. Now, there's multiple ways to do lighting. You can have 1-point, 2-point, 3-point, as many points as you want, but my favorite's 3-point because it gives you the most control and you have all the power to be as creative as you want cinematically. Even though this isn't a cinematic shot, I still like to light cinematically because it's going to be a much more pleasing shot to the eyes, even if you're a child, because this is clearly shot for kids and you can tell it's for Christmas. So as you can see, I have my key light up here, the ring light, which comes down, creates all these nice highlights where I want them. And then I have the fill light, which meets that key light, hits the backdrop as well and comes back. And it just warms up the entire plate, softens the shadows where I need it softened, but keeps shadows where I need shadows. That's key. And then lastly, I have my form light, which separates the chair from the back plate, which is pretty close in color tone, right? And the hair and her skin as well gets pulled off because I have this form light to separate it. That's why it's very important that you have a form light or a hair light or a kicker light. Always want to have a light behind the subject. A lot of people miss this and they always wonder, why is my footage look so flat? Let's look at it graded, and then boom, you can see it. Now this is very, very saturated, of course. You're probably seeing it through YouTube compression as well. But this is what we want because we want to put our subjects in a world, a cartoonish world, but I wanted to preserve her skin tones, and that's what we did. I may end up pulling this back in the final product. But let's jump into Photoshop real quick and let's actually break down exactly how these lights are working. Okay, here we are in Photoshop, guys. I'm just using a simple marker here to block this out for you. So we know our ring light's here. And I know it's going to sound really repetitive, but I really want to drive this home because I hope you guys can pick up some tips and tricks that we use here for our finished shots. And with Photoshop, you guys should be able to see this really, really nice. In fact, I'm going to zoom in even further for you guys. There we go. And so here we are. You know, we have these very nice highlights, as you guys can see right here. You have these highlights that are coming on her face where we want them. Very well lit. And then because of the fill light, I'm able to really fill in this area here too. Also take note of the shadows. So with the key light here at a 45-degree angle from my camera, lifted up in the air, and so light's coming down this way, you'll get these shadows where we want them. So we have a shadow here, I got shadows here, a little bit of shadow here, definitely some shadows down here, and then this is all in shadow, right? And the fill light is just going to lift those up so they're not 100% black. Of course, with all these working in tandem, the fill light also comes in here, and you have light coming in and hitting her on the side just to give her enough form. And then we have our kicker or a hair light or a form light coming in. You can really see that shine right there. Okay. Now I just marked up this plate, but at least you guys are able to see exactly how these lights are working, and give this a shot in your next video. Like, I want to see you guys start to use 3-point lighting. This is a concept that's not exclusive to videography. Visual effects artists light this way too. Obviously, sometimes we have to use a lot more lights in our lighting and shading for our comps to make things fit, but they all fall into the same function. And you guys saw earlier, I have a lot of lights I use for my fill and my ambient light. I'm not just using one fill light, but I only have one key light. It's very important that you always have one key light on your subject. You never want to multiply the key light. If you need a second key light for your subject, there's something wrong with your overall composition. You need to find that, and we'll probably explore that in another video at another time. But thank you so much for watching, guys. If you have any questions on what 3-point lighting is or how I'm lighting, leave a comment below. I'd love to address those, guys. If you have any comments you want to add, do that as well. And I hope to do more of these videos for you guys in the future. So until then, I'll see you in the next video.